DFA fam, what is going on? How's everybody doing? Woo! We are here. Fantasy
Oh,
playoffs. Let's go. It is fantasy playoff time for
yeah.
most everybody, except for those weirdos that play week 18 probably. But other than that, it is fantasy playoffs. Hey, it's going great, right? I mean, we got Keenan Allen already ruled out. I mean, Justin Herbert's out. I mean, it's fantastic. Nico Collins may not play. I mean, Josh Jacobs, he may not play either. He's very questionable at this point.
Devontae
So,
Adams.
yeah, Devontae. I mean, could you ask for a better start to the fantasy playoffs than this? I mean, boy, we got 37 backup quarterbacks playing right now. I mean, Joe Flacco is being hyped.
Approximately.
I mean, Tommy DeVito out here, you know. So fantastic time, just saying that right now.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. We got 808 in here, right out the gate. Evening, Cody and Kevin. Let's get this going. As we will. And Ronnie dropping in with a super chat, beer money. Appreciate you, my guy.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. So that being said,
appreciate you already.
Yes, absolutely appreciate that as well. I hope you're doing well. Hope we got another week, just a little over a week and a half till Christmas. So, but first things first, let's get the Christmas spirit going, and let's help people win their fantasy championships.
Mm.
So we can't do that without winning this illustrious week 15 that we're setting up to get right now with all these injuries. So, hey, the wife, 808's here, and he's got to get the wife help. So in a win this week, she needs one running back, one wide receiver, one flex. T. Higgins, Roschon Johnson, Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen, Josh Downs, Ty Chandler, Deontay Foreman, Ramondre Stevenson. I don't think Ramondre Stevenson's going to play.
Correct. For the running back, I'm going Ty Chandler.
Correct.
For the wide receiver, golly, Adam Thielen. And then I will flex T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Josh Downs is close, but Thielen and Higgins is how I would lean. I have Downs just outside of that.
Yeah. I'd it's It's been rough a little bit here for Josh Downs since
it has. That's why he's just outside. I think he's had 3 catches over like the past 2 weeks or so. He's not been good.
No. And I mean, Chris Godwin, though he did see 11 targets last week, only 5 catches. Thielen is being out targeted right now by Josh Mingo, so that's not good either. But I still think you probably go Adam Thielen. You really attack the Falcons on the inside. You don't really try to attack them on the outside. That's kind of a thing all year.
Yeah.
Avoid AJ Terrell. And so with Adam Thielen playing the majority of the snaps from the slot. Let me see. Yeah, he plays 65% of snaps from the slot. So I'll go Thielen. And I think flip a coin for I'll go Godwin. as the other option. I don't love either, like really any of them. To be honest, I think they're all kind of right there for me. But I think I would just kind of lean Godwin. That's tough. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. If I win, I get a bye. 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Drake London, Josh Palmer, Zeke, Javonte Williams. Should be mentioned that Josh Palmer is getting in full participation in practices right now. So it does sound like
just in time for
should,
Easton Stick, baby.
Yeah. So Keenan Allen obviously won't be playing in that game.
We're gonna go Adams as long as he plays. I mean, he was the normally I wouldn't care about an illness, but the fact that he was a late addition to the injury report is definitely something that at least needs to be monitored. So as long as he plays, I'm gonna plug in Adams, I'm gonna plug in Zay Flowers, and then I will flex Javonte.
Devontae Adams, Zay Flowers, and I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson.
Gonna play with fire 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. And then San Francisco or KC defense. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I like San Francisco, but I mean, we're talking about Kyler Murray, right? And what now will be as healthiest the offense has been with them getting Michael Wilson back, Hollywood Brown, Trey McBride. I mean, and then you have the Patriots with Bailey Zappi. So I'll go Chiefs.
Yeah, I'll go Chiefs as well. It's close.
Hey guys, should I start Pittman or Cup this week? Or I hate to say Pittman, but he has a tough matchup against Porter and Cup against Washington. My gut is saying Cup, but I wanted your opinion.
I have Cup ahead of Pittman this week. It's close. Pittman has been really good all year. Cup has had 3 good weeks, but this is just an absolute smash spot going up against Washington.
Yeah, because the hard part about Pittman is he's kind of matchup proof. Like, he really hasn't been shut down much all year. I mean, he gets there because the volume he sees is incredible. They're going to move him all around. I don't see Joey Porter like traveling with him or shadowing him or anything like that. And so, but you're right. The matchup is just absolutely incredible for the Rams. Only thing that makes me nervous about that is when anytime you think something like that is when something goes wrong and doesn't work out the way you think it should. But I still think you got to go Cup. The coming off one of his best games of the season, and the matchup is way too good to pass up on that. So process over results on that one.
Yeah. I mean, Pittman, there's only in half PPR scoring, he's only had 4 weeks where he has not finished as at least a wide receiver 2. And the last time that did not happen was back in week 5. He has been wide receiver 22 or better every single week since week 6. Just lock him in as a mid wide receiver 2 to a back end wide receiver 1 every single week.
Just curious, out of my own curiosity, if you're still in here, let us know who else you're starting this week at wide receiver, because I mean I have Michael Pittman at wide receiver 6. So just curious. Also, I've been starting Dallas defense all year, but would you consider sitting them for the Raiders defense who's going against LAC? Yeah, I'm not playing Dallas against the Bills.
Yeah. If that's the best waiver option, I don't mind it.
No, I agree. And then,
although Josh Allen is good for at least one turnover, for sure.
Yeah, but this is on the road too, so that makes me feel a little bit better about it. So for the Cowboys, so yeah, I would do that. We might be getting a another 3-0 ball game tomorrow there for the out of the Raiders. You know, it could be truly exciting Thursday night football.
I was thinking about putting a showdown lineup together, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it.
I'll tell you what, the ones that always feel the grossest are the ones that I seem to do the best at. I don't know why, but Ashton, start one. Odell, Chuba, Downs, Myers. This is Odell for me.
Odell, let's do it.
Embrace the old guys. You know, don't get caught up in that thought that just because they're old and have been through multiple injuries that you shouldn't embrace them, right?
See, Kev, you are a true dynasty guy. This would be the time of the year where you would embrace these old vets that you can get for cheap. That are going to get you some production. A true dynasty guy at heart.
Maybe I am.
You love to see it. Love to see it.
Maybe I'm like the Michael Jordan of Dynasty. I don't even know it yet. Like I just dive in, and all of a sudden I'm just a wizard in Dynasty, and I don't even know it.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Michael, drop the like and hit the subscribe. Absolutely, Michael. What he
please
said.
do.
2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Evans, DK, Puka, Rice. So at wide receiver, it's going to be Puka.
Yes. Or 2 wide receivers, Puka and Evans.
I'm going to go DK. And then at running back, it's Achane, Gibbs, Pollard, Javonte. I'm going to go Pollard and Gibbs. And then I'm going to flex Mike Evans.
Okay, so Evans and Puka, Achane and Pollard. And then I'll flex DK. So I think the only thing that we did not agree on was Gibbs versus Achane.
And then who are you guys streaming this week for defense? One of them has already been mentioned. I think either side of that game, whether it's the Raiders.
Why don't you read the rest of that, Kev?
Oh, I didn't. Cody's Bears advice killed. Thanks. Oh, hey, clocks. Even a broken clock's right twice a day, right?
What?
But we did already hear the Chargers, Raiders. I think, but that game you could flex or you could play either one of those sides. One defense that I am well ahead of consensus, and it's already in there. The Bears. I like the Bears a lot this week. I know Joe Flacco's been out here killing souls and throwing for 300 yards each of the last 2 games, but that was against 2 of the worst pass defenses in the league, and the Jaguars. I mean, everybody has killed the Jaguars this year through the air. And then the same thing we said about the Bengals. Bengals have really struggled as well. Like both of those defenses aren't very good. You can't say that about the Bears. The Bears have just been out here killing folks on the defensive side of the ball. For the better part of the last month and a half, really since week 6. And so I really like the Bears in this matchup. I think Joe Flacco kind of turns back into Joe Flacco a little bit this week. And so I do like the Bears. That's actually the defense that I picked up myself, and I'm in the same position. I picked them up, but I think there's a strong argument to be made for the Chargers and the Raiders as 2 other options you could look at as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Bears have the 3rd lowest roster percentage on ESPN, so they should be widely available. And obviously, if you played them last week, should still have them unless you drop them for like a Ty Chandler or somebody like that. But they can go right back to the Bears. They should be widely available. I like that call. If they're not, I mean, I think you could potentially look at the Panthers just with Desmond Ridder, someone else who just loves turning the ball over. I think you could potentially look there, but Bears would be my choice.
Yeah, and then the Rams should also be mentioned, mainly because Sam Howell just gets sacked at an alarming rate. So, I think the Rams are also in play there as well. But I do like the Bears here. And that game actually is like a 36.5 point total for the Bears and Browns. So it's also something you love to see.
Ooh, it's now at 38.5.
Oh, well.
Moving up, baby.
well, look out. So, yeah.
34 in Falcons Panthers. There are a lot of ugly totals this week. 42.5 for Ravens Jags. 37 for Chiefs Patriots. 37.5 for Jets Dolphins. 38 for Texans Titans. 39 Giants Saints. Fantasy playoffs, baby.
Yeah. It's alarming. Cameron with a super chat. Appreciate that. Stafford over Mahomes. I'm doing it.
Yep.
I mean, Stafford's just in an incredible spot. So,
yeah, fantastic spot. Mahomes has not been great. And then I would go Chiefs D. The Browns defense could be without a couple key pieces in this game.
And I obviously, but I will say, so there's some bias here when I say what I'm about to say, but a little bit. So just be full transparency. I think the Chiefs are going to kick the shit out of the Patriots this week. There's a lot of spiciness coming out of them that you just don't typically hear. Like, I don't know if you listen to the New Heights podcast, but even today, like Travis Kelce was like super spicy on there, like just kind of saying fuck everybody. Like they don't care what anybody says, and they're tired of like the media and all this shit. I was like, you might just, and you got Patrick Mahomes out here liking tweets about how like people are saying that he's bad and everything else, and I'm like, we might just get scorched earth Chiefs this week against the Patriots, and that's going to be on the that side of it. But that doesn't matter for this. Go Stafford. Like Stafford is the play. It's just he's in an incredible spot. Really bad defense this week. Against the Commanders. The Commanders have just been horrendous against the pass this year. They have been a turnstile. So, and we've seen Stafford the last 3 games just go off. So it is 100% Stafford. And then on the other side of that, I'm going to go Chiefs. So.
T.Y. or Geno Smith for Castillo?
I think if Geno plays, I'm going to go Geno here.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just another really good matchup. The Eagles have really struggled to stop opposing defenses, especially through the air. So that's how you beat them. So
another quarterback question. This one from KD: Fields, Murray, or Stroud if he plays?
I don't think Stroud plays. He didn't practice today, which isn't the end all be all. But typically, the players that have come back from concussion within the same week hasn't been a lot. The players that have usually been out there that first day, at least getting a limited practice in on Wednesday. He didn't get anything in today. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, you can just he's not playing this week, which kind of makes sense. I don't think he plays this week, and I also don't think Nico Collins is going to play. I know there was reports today that were positive that he's made a lot of progress and he's pushing to play this weekend, but I don't think he ends up playing. It sounds like, though, that there's a better shot he could play week 15, which sucks because CJ Stroud and Nico Collins have been fantastic this year. But so it's between Fields and Murray, and I'm going to go Murray on this one.
I'm going to go Fields. I think the Browns could be missing a bunch of key pieces, so I think it's going to help Fields, and he can obviously always get there with his legs. Murray has some of that ability too, obviously, but not to the same extent that Fields has. So I'm going to go Fields on this one, especially if Denzel Ward misses again and he's questionable at this point. That's obviously going to help out DJ Moore in a big way. So I like Fields in this spot. Alexis, big questions for playoff time, starting Kyren, Bijan, Devonta, and Kupp. Should I start Swift and Olave at flex or go with Jacobs, Moss, or Wilson instead?
I don't think Jacobs is going to play. Obviously, the good news is it's a Thursday game, so you're going to know right out the gate whether he plays or not. I wouldn't test fate in playing him anyway, just because possible re-aggravation, all these other things that can happen. It's Thursday night, short rest. But I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't practiced at all this week. I know Antonio Pierce came out and if he plays, it's Josh Jacobs time. Like, cool. Like, thanks. But I don't think he plays, honestly. So I don't think you have to worry about that. And Swift is tough because the matchup is great. Like, the Seattle is a bottom 5 defense against the run this year. But the problem is the last 2 games we have seen that his involvement in the game has dropped off. And like, you would have liked to have seen him be involved in the passing game at the very least, and he's not. And that's the problem, is you also lose opportunity with someone like Jalen Hurts, who once they get inside the red zone, the end zone, within the goal line, he's going to take those opportunities away with the good old tush push. And so that's what hurts Swift too. So Swift's a little more volatile. But I will say that Swift is in a good spot. It's just harder to trust.
I would go Moss and Olave.
I think that's what I would go. I know Zach Moss has not been good so far. These 2 games without Jonathan Taylor, but I do think Zach Moss, if I remember correctly, had a touchdown called back that could have made his day look a lot better last week. But I think I would still go Zach Moss over DeAndre Swift.
Couple more super chats. Appreciate you guys. Another one from Cameron. Kyler, Flacco, or Minshew. Is it crazy to play Flacco? I would not play Flacco in this spot, Kev, like you were just talking about. I would go Kyler here.
Yeah. So the Bears have allowed 13 or fewer points in 3 of their last 4 games. They are only allowing, it's like 188 passing yards per game over their last 4 games. Like, their pass defense has been really good. Like, so that's why I'm not excited to play Joe Flacco in this spot. Like I said, the last 2 weeks made sense. Jaguars, Bengals, 2 really bad pass defenses. That is not the Bears. So I would go Kyler here.
Trojan, appreciate you. Good idea to play Wilson and Miami defense together or play OBJ instead. Well, let's just start with that first one. Kev, you tempted fate last week. You played Wilson you advised a lot of people on our Sunday show, I should say, to start Wilson in that in what was supposed to be the rain game. Now it looks like, because I got curious when I read off that total that was really low for that Miami Jets game. I went and looked, and now obviously we went through this same thing last week. Ended up not being a big deal in any of the games, but on RotoGrinders weather for the NFL, they do have the Jets Miami game at an orange with the orange tag right now. It says chance for rains, but the winds 20 miles per hour sustained with gusts to 35 miles per hour. The wind is the biggest thing that we care about when it comes to fantasy production and weather. I can't play with fire 2 weeks in a row and go back to Garrett Wilson in the spot. Like, I can't imagine Zach Wilson with 20 mile per hour winds doing what he did again this week. So I'm going to go Odell here, but I do think Miami is a fine play at D.
Yeah, you can absolutely play them together, for one. I will say that.
You could, yes.
That's totally fine. Those are independent of each other. And so I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, so the big reason why I didn't care last week is because, one, we largely overrate weather, which is what you saw last week. Everyone was, oh my God, the world's coming. Don't play these guys. Can't play these guys. And as we saw, like, the perfect example actually wasn't even that game. It was actually the Ravens game. Everybody was afraid of that game. We're going away from that game, the Ravens-Rams game, and that ended up being the game of the week with the highest total. Yeah. So the only thing that I care about is wind. Like rain, I don't care. Like wind, if it's going to be 20+ mile an hour sustained winds, that's when you care. And so if that is what ends up coming, then I think you could then you would be worried about it. In terms of other than that, I think you can still play Garrett Wilson.
Then Trojan also needs 2 running backs and a flex from Javonte, Monty, Ford, Achane, and Ty Chandler.
Monty and Achane, and I'm going to flex Javonte.
Yep, I'm with you. Appreciate you guys for the super chats. You can also hit that sub and that like as another way to support the channel. We already got that one.
Oh, yep. I think was this the next one? Yeah, D-Hop or Cooper. Because I don't think we got that.
This I'm gonna go
D-Hop here. Yeah. 808 again. 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 flex. Mike Evans, DK, David Montgomery, Zeke, Garrett Wilson, Javonte, Ty Chandler, AJ Dillon, CH. So wide receiver, it's going to be Mike Evans and DK Metcalf.
Yep.
The running back's going to be Monty.
Yep. And the flex for me is going to be Javonte. Just slightly over Zeke and Ty Chandler.
Turn over a new leaf. Zeke Elliott. I'm going to go Zeke.
Dynasty Kev. Also on waivers, Jahan, JSN, Downs, Rashid, Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Jerry Jeudy on Foreman, Gibson, and Singletary. Yeah, I'm not looking at any of those options. I mean, I think assuming this is for the same team that we just read off, like I don't really see any of the names on here that I'm that interested in picking up if I have to drop from that group. So I would just leave it as is. Who you got winning this week? Cowboys, Bills, Giants, Saints, Chargers, Raiders.
We go Raiders, Giants, Bills.
Raiders, Saints, Cowboys. Good to see Isaac rocking with us. Another one here from KD, Patty Fry, Otten, Kraft, or Waller if healthy.
Didn't you have a question? Yeah, Isaac had a question. Goddard or Kincaid?
I
got your back there, Isaac.
My bad. Goddard.
Yeah.
Oh. Probably going to go Patty Fry here. Tucker Kraft would be second for me.
If Waller plays, I'm going to go Waller.
Tommy DeVito. We trust. RD, Evening Fellows looking to put the hammer down this weekend. That is right. Full PPR, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. HM, Mixon, Javonte, Keaton, Amon as a lock. Odell, Reed, Cooks. Thanks, fellas. You guys fucking rock. You fucking rock.
I thought you were going to do it with the Yinzer voice, want the hammer down, but you didn't do it. So,
well, this is also not Yinzer.
Oh, I wouldn't do it now. That's not what I was trying to do, but that's what I was hoping. That's what you were going to do. I was trying to do that.
Yeah, hammer Don.
Yeah, right. I guess that's Pat McAfee's thing, so maybe that's not. It's like we could like copyright infringement.
Yeah, we don't want to get booted for that.
Okay, so enough of that.
There's gonna be Achane and Mixon at running back. 2 wide receivers, obviously, Monroe's a lock. Jaden Reed. And then at the flex, Javonte.
So I'm going to go Achane and Javonte. Obviously, you're right. Amon-Ra is a lock. And then Jaden Reed. And then I'm going to flex Odell.
Odell was in consideration for me as the flex as well. Really like the spot that he's in, but McGuire, Kupp, Saquon, or Eckler in a PPR.
Saquon.
Wow. How rich. I'm going to go Kupp, but Saquon will be second. Eckler will be a distant third here among this group. Kupp or DK, that's going to be Kupp for both of us, Josh Jacobs or Breece. I don't think Jacobs plays. So I think that decision's going to be made for you, McGuire. And I think I would go Breece over Jacobs anyway. Like if we get word that he's going to be active, I would still go Breece. Let's get those chips. Indeed. Josh, starting to lean Wilson over Tua this week. What do y'all think? I mean, if the wins are going to be what they are, is there... Because obviously, if the wins are what they are, that really hampers Tua just from a deep ball perspective, right? Like, kind of takes away those explosive pop plays.
How does it help Zach Wilson, though?
I was assuming that was Russ.
Oh, I was thinking Zach. So I was like, Zach. I was like, man, we're really doing this? Like, but so Russell, yeah, didn't even see there was a kid in my mind. I just was thinking Zach Wilson probably because they're in the same game together. But yes, absolutely. Here, I would play. I would probably end up playing Russ if that's what happens. Good news is, bad news. I mean, good news that game is the late game on Saturday, so you should have some idea by that point of what the weather is going to look like. Because I would rather play Tua over Russell Wilson.
Yeah. In a perfect world, for sure. Ashton, start 1 running back, 1 flex, tight end premium is a full point. We're looking at Spears, Singletary, Myers, Logan Thomas, and Juju. God.
I'm going to go Logan Thomas in the flex. And I'm going to go with Spears.
I'm going to go Singletary and Logan Thomas. I'd just be pushed off a Spears slightly just because of the potential game script like we've seen. I think, Spears obviously has a little bit of standalone value, but he gets, I think he's most exciting as a play if we can project the Titans to be playing from behind. And obviously with no Stroud, potentially no Nico Collins, no Tank Dell, I'm not sure that happens. Hard to trust Singletary as well, but I would lean Singletary over Spears for this week. Rohan, PPR, pick 2, Gibbs, Eckler, Justin Jefferson.
I'm going to go Justin Jefferson and Gibbs.
Samesies. Will, need a defense this week, Chicago, Rams, or Tennessee without CJ Stroud. This is going to be Chicago for me.
Yeah.
Another one from JT. Also not sure if I should play Moss, Kupp over any of these. Mixon, Evans, Mixon, Mostert. I would play Kupp over Evans.
Yeah, I'm playing Moss over Mixon.
Over Mixon.
Yeah.
Chris Ruck with his couple of playoff questions starts sits. Wondering your thoughts. Fields versus Goff. I'm going to go Fields there.
Yeah.
Ferguson versus McBride. Gonna go McBride.
It's smash McBride. McBride has been fantastic. McBride has been like arguably a top 15 wide receiver the last month. Like he gets there every single time. He's seeing a massive target share, and so like Trey McBride has been fantastic. Quite honestly. So it's Trey McBride.
And then we need 2 out of ETN, Brees, Mitchell, and Walker. It's going to be ETN and Brees for me.
Yeah, ETN and Brees.
Another one from Will. Also pick 1 for my flex. Jacobs, Achane. Chandler is going to be Achane.
Right. I just even if, like I said, like even if Jacobs plays tomorrow, I do not feel comfortable firing him up with the fact that he could go out there and first half get knocked out with re-aggravation of injury. This is something that he's only had a few days since they played, and so I would not feel comfortable putting him out there and then something happening, especially if you have other options. So I cannot do that. So I if I have anybody that I feel comfortable with, I'm not playing Josh Jacobs, even if he were to play, but I don't expect him to play. And let me not forget MIZZOU.
Taking down the top seed in the Listener League. I'm just happy that I'm not last. In the past couple of years, the Listener League has not been kind. I've just looked like an absolute dolt the past couple of years. So I'm just happy to not be in last. I'm happy to make the playoffs. And like the draft like really couldn't have went any better for
me. Yeah, well, I was just on the bad side of luck as I was the 4th highest scoring team in the entire league and didn't make the playoffs. So that's always fantastic.
Well, that's your fault as commissioner for not putting highest points not yet in as the last seed.
I should have, but anyways, that's the way fantasy football goes. That is the worst.
Next year. Simp, need 1 wide receiver, 2 flex, full PPR, wide receiver, wide receiver, running back, tight end. So one wide receiver out of Waddle, Ridley, London, Palmer. That is Waddle if the weather is okay. If not, I would go Ridley.
So I would go Waddle. And then the 2 flex, I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley and James Cook. Or no, I said Monty. Sorry. I'm going to go with Monty and James Cook. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I do the same thing at the flex. Browning over Fields this week. No, I'm going to go Fields there. And then Browns or Falcons D.
I'm going to go Falcons.
I'm going to go Falcons D. Legend of Trey, Dak or Allen. It's going to be Dak for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dak.
And then at RB, we're looking at Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, or Kyren Williams. If it's just one, it's going to be Kyron. If it's two, it's going to be Henry and Kyron.
Correct.
Then wide receivers, Evans, Puka, St. Brown, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson. Okay, so it's 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. So the running backs we already have taken care of. Wide receivers for me are going to be Puka and Amon-Ra. And then I am going to flex Ayuk.
I'm going to flex Justin Jefferson.
So that's why we're picking between it was a Cup and someone else. I can't remember the other one. I think Pittman, Cup and Pittman. That's why.
Yep.
Away from the wife, waivers look like this: Mingo, Elijah Moore, Zay Jones, Judy, Johnson, Wilson, Douglas, Brown. Pick up over Godwin, Thielen, Higgins. I would not. You're going Godwin and Thielen. I'm going Thielen and Higgins. None of those options really stand out to me over that group.
Yeah, you're probably right. I really like Michael Wilson, but I'm not going to let that cloud this. I do really like Michael Wilson here, but I think I would still roll with the guys you have there.
Okay, yup. More Olave, Metcalf wide receivers for 1. Other I have Lamb, Brown, Diggs. Not sure if you're coming in here just to show off, Kevin, or if there's a question in this one. Let's see. I'm not seeing a question scrolling down, so I mean, let's just say we have to pick 2 just in case Kevin is not coming in here just to flex on everybody. It would be Moore and Metcalf if I'm just picking 2, and then in the next one it would be Lamb and AJ Brown. Then we got action there, trying to start a new dynasty league. Joe Ortiz, T-Law, ETN, Mostert, AJ Brown, Chase, DJ Moore, Laporta, KC. Is my starters: Love, Swift, Cook, Warren, Reed, Addison, Kelsey, Dallas on bench. Any changes? Ouch.
No, I don't see anything that I would change. I think the only conversation is Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love. I know Jordan Love's coming off a pretty gross game for him for the most part after what we've seen from him before.
I would go Love over Lawrence.
Yeah, it just feels like a game that they're going to have to keep up, and you could see a little bit of like the game last week against the Rams. But I don't hate that call. I mean, obviously Tampa Bay has been horrendous against opposing passers this year. Like that is for sure, and so we definitely want to target that. So if you want to go with Jordan Love as a bounce back spot, I can go on board with that. And I just wanted to say when I saw this Ashton, who would be interested if I made a dynasty league. Like if we make one, like I would be totally cool doing it through Discord, and like we talked about. I think it was last week or the week before that. Of like, as long as we we gotta attach some money to it because I won't pay attention to it or care. But like, it doesn't have to be a ton. Maybe $50. Is that? I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's like a medium outcome of that. But we could do something like that. Do it in the Discord. You use like Safe League or something like that, League Safe or whatever it is, to handle the payments. No one has to handle money. But I think that'd be a lot of fun. Do like a TFA Dynasty League. That would be good to do. So I would be on board with that. Maybe, bust my probably not politically correct to say that. To play
it's definitely not politically correct. Just say bust my and then pause.
Well, I was gonna say my dynasty something, but I was like, I don't know if that I'm allowed. I don't know if that like YouTube like that how they would feel like. So, anyways, yeah, first dynasty
I
thing.
think I think you're looking for pop your dynasty cherry, right?
Yeah.
Not bust your dynasty nut.
I was gonna say cherry, but I was like, I don't know if that's like, yeah.
You say bust the cherry?
No, it should be pop, but it's
Oh,
just
okay. I don't know if there was like a
like how
difference
like
there.
here we call they call Midwesterners call pop or soda pop, and then down south that's soda like that. It's like that kind of the same. What you were
Like
looking
that
for?
kind of well, I call it pop. It's pop.
Yeah.
So
Down south, it
also
is soda. It's like you ask for a pop. What's a pop? What is that? Soda or Coke, I should say. Really, is really what they call it. A Coke's everything.
everything's Coke, yeah.
Yeah.
Guys that need I'm assuming it's running back to two wide receivers, tight end, and a flex. HM Mostert Pacheco if he plays out of running back. So if we just need one, I'm gonna go Mostert. And then out of the wide receivers, Debo, Ayuk, Puka, Olave, St. Brown. That is going to be Puka and St. Brown. Tight end, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Laporta, and then I will flex Ayuk.
I don't. Yeah. So one, I don't think Pacheco plays. I don't. I just don't see him playing this week. I think they hold him out for another game. I think the Chiefs probably feel pretty good that they don't need him to win. So I think they hold him out for another week and let him rest. He didn't practice today, but again, it's Wednesday. We don't care about Wednesday, but I don't think he plays this week. But and then yes, I would agree. Olave, Puka, and then I'm going to flex Debo here. But I get it between Debo and Ayuk. That's tough to have both those guys and how, especially as
Yeah.
well as they've been playing. And then I'm going to flex Kittle.
I think Para was talking about the Raiders defense, if I'm not mistaken, and I would go Rams over Raiders. But it's close. Any preference there, Kev?
Yeah, I would probably lean Rams just because of the upside for sacks.
Did not see learning something new every day. I didn't know that pop was a Canadian thing, or like that. That was also used in Canada.
We're all learning. See, we're all learning about
Interesting.
ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah,
Tell
Midwest
me
is
two
very much.
truths and a lie about you.
Yeah, very much so. It is called pop in the Midwest.
Yeah,
and soda.
there's a like Pittsburgh is just like the surrounding Pittsburgh area. It's like a small circle. I think like the rest of the state calls it soda, but like it's kind of like a Western PA thing where we call it pop. The rest of the state is soda. But yeah, I remember my freshman year at Penn State, we were drinking, and I was gonna go get like chaser for everyone. It's like, all right, what kind of pop do you guys want? And everyone just literally just stared at me. Like you would have thought that I was speaking in an unknown tongue, an unknown language, and I was just like I thought something was wrong. What's so? What kind of pop do you guys want? And they're just like, what are you talking about? I was like, for the liquor. Like, what do you mean? And like, oh, like you mean like chaser, like soda? It's like, yeah, pop. What are we talking about? It literally just like stared at me like I had three heads. God. Anyway,
That is how it is.
itty bitty. 14 team half PPR, Stafford or Murray. I'm going Stafford. If Hill, Chase, or is DJ Moore banged up? I don't know.
I think he was questionable. I think they're all fine. I mean,
Okay.
It's later in the year. A lot of these guys are missing Wednesday practices. I think all of them play, but
So that one's, like I said, is going to come down to the wind for me. If the wind stays how it is, I would play Chase over Tyreek Hill. But I think you're going to end up being fine. And then if Breece Hall sits, Warren, Mitchell, or McKinnon.
Warren.
And then likely or McBride, it's going to be McBride. Kev, I'm not Kevin. Yep, that is Kevin Y. I'm not trying to skip over your stuff, but if there's a question that you have that you want to drop in, go ahead and drop in the question. I'm not sure. I see you listed out your roster, but let us know if like there's anything in particular you're looking for help on. Dez need 2 wide receivers to start for the playoffs: Collins, Nacua, Cooper, or McLaurin.
Jesus. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't think Nico Collins plays, so I'm going to go with Puka Nacua and McLaurin.
Agreed. And then McBride at tight end for me.
Yep.
Jeff back rocking with us, Rachaad White or Saquon. That is going to be Saquon for me.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go Chiefs D.
Correct.
That is correct. Another one here from Dez from my other league. Need 3 wide receivers: London, Myers, Dobbs, Cook, Lockett, AJ Brown. So obviously AJ Brown. And then I'm going to go Lockett and Cooks. And then Hurts the quarterback for me.
I don't know if that's AJ Brown or Amon St. Brown, but it doesn't really matter. Whoever that was.
Yeah, either one is locked in.
And then I'm going to go with Myers and Brandon Cooks. Or not Myers, excuse me, Dobbs and Brandon Cooks, excuse me.
Quarterback?
Hurts. That's what I was on. I saw Joe. Yeah. They froze. Yeah. Or is it just me? Working for me, Joe. Must be the week, man. I was dying when I saw that. I couldn't even listen to what you were saying. I thought that was hilarious.
You are freaking out, man. Stafford or Mahomes, we have this one already. We're both going to go Stafford on this one. Another one here from the Figure Report. I need 2 of the 3 in a standard. Rice, Flowers, Wilson.
Rice and Flowers.
And would you go likely over Goddard? I would not. I would go Goddard.
Right.
Is Zamir a good start if Jacobs is out? Got Swift Pacheco as of now, but can flex Pacheco if he plays. I wouldn't necessarily call him a good start. I think he's going to be a fine start. The Chargers' run D has kind of been a little up and down. They've been good at some points. They've allowed some production to other running backs, but I mean, if Jacobs is out, I think we see Zamir White handle the majority of touches. I think he potentially loses some of the passing down work to Amir Abdullah, but I think you're looking at 15 touches for Zamir White, and that's really all you can ask for, especially if you're picking up a running back off of waivers like that. Like that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah. Right. Because you're not really worried about. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that, because the year we've had with backup quarterbacks, like I don't think I can say confidently that like Easton Stick can't come in there and push this game to a way that I wouldn't expect. But we shouldn't expect that game to really like shoot out or anything. It should be low scoring, which is always going to help. So like Zamir White, who is likely going to be more of the first, second down banger and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't think Pacheco plays. But you definitely don't want to put, if you're going to play it, you definitely don't want to put Zamir White in your flex.
Yeah. Fields over Purdy just because San Fran's going to bend Cardinals over a table.
Well, they have to get there somehow, right? Be able to do that. So I would go Purdy. And I don't expect that. The Cardinals have, for the most part this year, have done a really good job of keeping games close and being competitive. I don't think that San Francisco is going to blow the doors off the Cardinals. Like I think it can be close.
Bears, Rams, Browns, D this week. It's going to be Bears for me.
I'm going to go Browns in this situation.
Have a first round bye Los Angeles, so I don't have a tight end. Want to roster Hudson, Brevin Jordan, K-Dot, and Hunter Henry.
I'm going to go Tanner Hudson.
I'm going to go Tanner Hudson here as well. Laporta or McBride for Jeff.
This is McBride. He's my tight end too, just behind Kelsey.
McBride by a smidge. It's really close for me. I think Laporta is due for a bounce back game. I think that entire offense is kind of due to have a bounce back as well, especially now playing at home. But McBride has been what Laporta was basically at the beginning of the year, right? Millie Mills, Higgins, McLaurin, D-Hop, or Deontay at the flex and a PPR. This one is going to be D-Hop for me.
Yep.
Goddard or McBride. This is going to be McBride. Conlon B. Pick 2. Zay Flowers, Mixon, Zeke, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Zach Moss.
It's going to be Zay Flowers and Zach Moss for me.
Yep, I'm with you. Ashton, which quarterback should I roster? I have a first round bye. Stafford already. Browning, Flacco, Minshew, Levis. Looking for week 16, unless I should roll with Stafford. Let's break out the week 16 NFL schedule. See, the Rams have the Saints. What were some of the other options? Was Minshew on there?
It's Browning, Flacco, Minshew.
So Browning has the Steelers, Minshew has the Falcons, and Flacco has the Texans. None of them are playing at home, if that matters to you. Well, Stafford is. What?
And Levis is on here.
And then Levis is...
The Texans.
Levis is home against the Seahawks.
Oh, okay. That's right. Because it's the following week. 17, I think they play the Texans again. Yeah, that's right. Because I know the Texans and Titans play too the next 3 weeks. So yeah, that's right. I think I would go Flacco. I think Atlanta's playing Cincinnati. Is that who it was?
No, Cincinnati's playing the Steelers on the road.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Flacco is on the road at the Texans. Minshew on the road at Falcons. Levis at home against the Seahawks, and then Stafford at home against the Saints. I think I would stick with Stafford.
Yeah, I think so too.
That Saints defense starting to fall apart a little bit. They're not. It's not a matchup I'd be worried about.
Yeah.
Rico. Start 1, flex 1, McBride, Laporta, Rice. I'm going to go with both tight ends.
It's going to be Rice and McBride for me.
Ingram or Fergie Ferg?
It's going to be Evan Ingram.
Ingram for me as well. Brady Bell, Hollywood, or Drake London? I'm going to go Hollywood here by a smidge.
Yeah, I agree.
Too hype? Good show, gentlemen. Thank you to Hype Cats. 12-team league finished 10-4, clinching the first seed to bye this week. Let's go. DST, Texans versus Cleveland, and Tennessee or Green Bay versus. Okay, I see. So either Texans versus Cleveland, Tennessee, or Green Bay versus Carolina and Minnesota.
I'm going to go Green Bay.
I would go Green Bay as well. Hold on to Cowboys Z. What do you think about week 17 against Detroit? Goff falling off last few weeks. The real question is that home or away? Cowboys are home, so that is away for Goff, but he is going to be in the dome, obviously. So it's not as bad when he's away in the dome.
Right. I'm fine with. I don't think I would. It depends on other options you had, which I guess you already mentioned, but I don't think the Cowboys are the defense that I would want to target there. I know that they've been on a roll lately and stuff like that, and they've been phenomenal at home. But I think this Lions offense is I think they'll bounce back a little bit here. So I don't feel great about playing the Cowboys D in that spot. I think it could go either way, honestly.
I'd probably go
Goff's
Cowboys.
also not someone that's going to turn the ball over a ton either. Like, he's not just going to sit out there and throw a bunch of interceptions and do all this stuff.
Yeah. I think I would still go Cowboys against Detroit at home versus Green Bay going up against Minnesota. Obviously, the matchup doesn't bother you at all with Green Bay and Minnesota, but I still think that there's the opportunity for Goff to take a bunch of sacks against Penn State great Micah Parsons. Pennsylvania native as well, right there in Harrisburg. Ashton, have a buy. Should I drop, speaking of Penn State greats, Parker Washington for Elijah Mitchell? Probably won't be using Parker, just worried someone might pick him up and beat me. That's the worst when it comes to playoffs. Like you're sitting out there and you're looking at someone like Elijah Mitchell sitting there. It's like, man, but like if someone picks up Parker Washington and plays him against me and he goes off, I'm gonna kick myself in the dick. But in this case, I would go Elijah Mitchell. If you're not starting Parker Washington, if something happens to McCaffrey, there's way more upside with Eli than there is with Parker Washington. And Washington has really just gotten there through touchdowns. You know, obviously he scored them in back-to-back weeks. But if he doesn't score you a touchdown like last week, you're going to be crushed. You're not going to be missing him. So I would prefer stashing Elijah Mitchell over Parker Washington. Lucius, Jamar Chase, or David Montgomery? This is interesting. Montgomery's obviously the safe play, right? Like we saw Browning spread it around, I think, to 9 different receivers last week. So we went from Jamar Chase just getting absolutely peppered to what I think he had like 4 targets last week. I'm going to go Monty.
Yeah. I agree. I just think so. Minnesota's defense is with Flores as the defensive coordinator has been really good this year. They do a lot of exotic blitzes and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a lot of stuff that probably Browning hasn't seen. And I mean, Browning, this little run that he's had has been some really good matchups involved there as well. So the Vikings defense has not been the problem for the Vikings this year for the most part. And so I think I would go Monty. It scares the hell out of me having to sit Jamar Chase because obviously he can get there no matter what. But I think I would, just game script wise, everything else. The matchup is phenomenal against the Broncos defense. So I think I would go Monty, but it does scare the shit out of me sitting Ja'Marr Chase.
Eric, happy holidays to you. Kittle or Goddard at tight end? I'm going to go Goddard.
I'm going to go Kittle.
And then Monty or Rice to the flex. I'm going to go Monty.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to go David Montgomery there. Joe?
Make the cold ear work a 12-hour shift today like this week's opponent. I'm beat. Just a great sign-off line there. Appreciate you joining, Joe. Rest up. Go throw some blankies on. Nice and toasty. Adam, Spears, Warren, or Palmer at the flex. That's going to be Warren for me.
Agreed.
Then Howell or T-Law. I'm going to go T-Law.
I'm going to go Sam Howell.
So we couldn't help you out on that last one. Adam, Augustin from either league, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Kamara, Moss, Monty, Javonte, Ty Chandler. 2 running backs there are going to be Moss and Monty for me.
Yeah, it's going to be Kamara, Moss, flex Monty. And then Zay Flowers.
And Devonta Smith for me.
If Christian Watson is out, I'm going to go with Jaden Reed. If Christian Watson plays, I'm going to go Devonta Smith.
Sorry, I was looking at whether to flex Reed or Kamara. I slightly lean Kamara. Mills, with all the Texans wide receivers hurt, is it safe to drop Deontay for Singletary?
Here's the thing. Titans' run defense is phenomenal. It's back to being really, really good.
It's back, yeah.
So I know, we saw like Raheem Mostert score a couple touchdowns, but that 2 of those were on turnovers that put them right inside the red zone. That helped out quite a bit. And so Devin Singletary is not this Dolphins or this Texas offense is not going to be the Dolphins offense either, which really changes a lot of things. So I'm not playing Singletary. I'm not excited about that at all. I can't tell you how many times this year everybody thought playing whatever chalk running back was going to be that week against the Titans, and it's failed every single time. And so I'm not playing Devin Singletary, especially with Dameon Pierce there as well as an option. So I'm not doing that. I get the mindset behind it, but it's just not. It's not a good spot at all.
Yeah, and then especially if it's going to be Davis Mills, you're not really going to have a threat of a passing game. You know what I mean? I think Singletary. I know I said Singletary earlier for one of the questions. I think over Spears. But I would not. I wouldn't drop Deontay for Singletary. And we've also now seen, 1 week where it was Pierce and went back to Singletary this week. So I think that could just be a mess as well. Jeff need 2 running backs and a flex out of Zeke, Moss, Swift, Walker, Cook, Flowers, and Thielen. It's going to be Zeke and Moss for me at running back. Or wait, never mind. Cook and Moss. And then I'm going to flex Zay.
Correct. Yep. Same thing.
Julian, 6-man PPR. Can't wait for 10 next year. I would not want to deal with these start sets in a 6-man, to be honest. I need 2 running backs and 1 flex between Jefferson, Kyron, Hall, Achane, Moss, Etienne, Wilson, Ridley. So 2 running backs are going to be Kyron and Moss.
And I'm going to flex Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Gibbs over Moss this week. Felt like Gibbs should have a good game against the Broncos. Run D. Moss is scrimmage twice, even though I know he's gone unlucky. I still lean Moss.
It's very close for me. I have Moss just ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs. I think you have to ask yourself, this is the thing that I would try to figure out if it was me. How do you see that game playing out? If you think the Broncos can get a lead, then I think it's easily Jahmyr Gibbs. Because the way that we've basically seen this play out now, we have enough data to back this up, that whenever the Lions are trailing, it's Jahmyr Gibbs that sees like he's played 68 and 65% of the snaps, I believe, in games that they've trailed. In games that they hold the lead, it's David Montgomery playing more than 60% of the snaps and he sees the large chunk of the carries there. So I think that's really what you have to figure out, like, and ask yourself of how you feel that game's going to play. If you think the Lions can get an early lead and be the team that is winning, then I think it's you go Zach Moss, because Zach Moss has, regardless of how he hasn't really produced, he's still seeing a massive workload in that offense. Like, he's still seeing, or I should say, the usage has been massive in his favor. I mean, he's still playing like 80-90% of the snaps, 80-90% of the rush attempts. He runs routes. He doesn't really see a lot of targets, but so Moss is probably the safer pick. But if you have a lean and you feel like that, the Lions are going to be even trailing in that game against the Broncos, then I think you go Gibbs. Because I agree, it is a really good spot for both Gibbs and Monty, but it's just that's kind of how the game script has played out this year for them.
Yeah, that's why I lean Moss. But Para, if like Kev said, if you have a lean, your gut's telling you Gibbs, it's like Gibbs is a bad play. He just
No,
his touch just might be limited if 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 the Lions are able to get out to a lead and hold on to that lead. Jeff, all the crazy, this is even a question, but Mahomes or Howell this week?
it's Mahomes.
It's Mahomes, but it is crazy that's a question. I think Howell has outscored Mahomes this year. Isaac, I'm surprised no Chase Brown question seems to be the flavor of the week. Yeah, that is. It is. It wasn't even someone that crossed my mind with us getting a couple Ty Chandler questions, but yeah, it seems like Chase Brown is someone that a lot of people are talking about. Kels, Warren, Ty Chandler right on cue, Keaton Mitchell.
Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler just over Jaylen Warren for me. For the Superflex, Minshew or Browning?
I'm going Minshew.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Would you start Laporta over Kelsey?
I'm playing Kelsey.
I'm going to go Laporta. Joe, I don't know if this helps my case with Joe over there just token on a number, but Joe's with me. Okay, maybe you know the answer to this. Finding your matchup for round 2 on Underdog.
Oh man, it should show up. I think. It should have showed up that like whatever pool you're in. Um, but it was a frustrating year for me for my best ball portfolio. I had 0 lineups advanced. Like I had like so much in injuries. I didn't have Josh. I know you tune in a lot for the DFS show. If you haven't figured that out, come in tomorrow night because Maddie, I know he's sweating because I think he's got like 5 or 6 lineups that he has advanced. He really went heavy on Dak and the Cowboys stacks, but because I would look, but I can't because I didn't have anything advanced. So, which is the first year, like I've been doing like best ball for like the last 3 or 4 years, and this is the first year that I did not have a single lineup advance into the after round 14. So that was frustrating. But I had like 4 lineups that finished third. Just didn't quite get there. But I don't want to not answer your question. But Maddie, tomorrow night, whenever we go to the DFS show, I can easily ask him whenever we're on. So if I know usually, well, I should say usually, but a lot of times you tune into the DFS show that we do tomorrow night. So if you do, I can find out.
Yeah, I gotta do one of those next year. I really didn't do a lot of best ball this year. I think I only have 4 drafts I did. I don't know why it just wasn't on top of mind this year, but
I try to spread it out. So like usually right after the Super Bowl they open up, and so that's usually I'll do like 4 or 5 drafts then, and then I'll wait till after the draft, and then I'll do some more, and then right before the season starts I'll do more. Um, so but
yeah,
they're a blast. I love doing them on Underdog. They're so quick, easy. um,
yeah, should have
so
should have done more this year. Right now I only have 3 just regular 12-team drafts. Currently
it is
leading
something that
one
we
of
should
them.
focus on more over the off season. Maybe do more work into
We did
talking
2
about.
years ago. We did
Yeah,
a couple of
we didn't really
those.
get a whole lot into it this year, but I love best ball is a lot of fun. Underdog. It's something to keep the during the spring and summer months when there's no football. It really at least gives you something to do until football gets back. So
Yeah. George, should I drop Charbonnet or Dowdle for Chase Brown? Non PPR have Dowdle as Pollard handcuff. I think you drop Charbonnet in a non PPR.
I probably don't make any move there. Like I don't want to drop Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker has been dealing with some injuries and stuff like that. He's like I would love to add Chase Brown, and I think like if you just want to gamble, I mean you're better off. You're better off not handcuffing your own players versus. I know we've only got a couple weeks left, so it's not as big of a deal. I mean, to be honest with you, but Chase Brown at least has standalone value.
Truth. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Olave, Evans, Lockett, Pollard, Jacobs, Achan. I guess the tight ends are in there as well in the flex conversation.
So this is going to be Olave and Evans. Running backs are going to
Pollard and Achan.
correct, and then I'm going to flex McBride and leave Kelsey.
I'm gonna go Lockett in the flex. I like that matchup. I'm gonna be playing from behind. So I would go Lockett over McBride there. Stafford over Fields.
Yes.
Brees over Moss or Gibbs. And Para's talking about the weather in that game, thinking that Brees might get more run. I would still go Moss and Gibbs over Brees. I get the line of thinking there, but also that can mean that they just stack the box with no threat of Zach Wilson passing in the wind, right? Which is not going to leave a lot of room for Brees to run. That offensive line for the Jets, over the past couple of years, we thought it was going to be one of the better units that has not come to fruition. Mekhi Becton not really turning into anything. So I would still go Moss and Gibbs over Brees. Lucius, what do you think about Schultz versus Goddard rest of season?
I think it's Goddard.
Yeah, I would go Goddard. I want to buy into. I mean, obviously the Texans' offense has been good, really good with C.J. Stroud, but I'm going to put my faith in Jalen Hurts down the stretch. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago we did that. We did a couple live streams where we live draft with me, Maddie, and Cody. We did those. Those were a lot of fun.
Do we have Debro on one of them? Why do I feel like we had Debro on one of them?
I don't think we had him on for best ball. We usually have him on. We usually have him on every summer, and we talk about a lot of different stuff. And me and him make fun of each other the whole time. But no, I don't think we did anything for best ball. But yes, I would like to get more into just like some content around best ball because it's definitely gaining a lot of steam. It's growing every single year, further and further. And if people haven't played in like an underdog, there's other little ones like drafters and some other ones that are out there. But it's a lot of fun. It's not really all that expensive to play. And the thing I like about it is you draft your teams, set it and forget it. Like you don't have to worry about it after that. And then there's obviously a lot more strategy that's going more into it about like for example, like I was talking about like Maddie, like he went real heavy. Like he picked like a bunch of like week 17 games, like, and he the Cowboys were being undervalued, right? Heading into the year, like Dak was not getting love like he should have, and he went super heavy on most of his builds with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, and obviously it really paid off. And he also went with the Lions as kind of the other team he stacked with that as well, and obviously that helps because they play each other in week 17, I believe. And so that was kind of his thought process behind it. And so there's a lot of strategy now behind it. How many quarterbacks should you draft, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all that stuff. So it's a lot of fun and it allows you to draft, which is what we all love to do anyway. That's why August is so awesome and September because of the drafts that you get to do. And so you get to draft all the time. And literally you can jump in 30-second clock. You can have a draft wrapped up in 15 minutes. You're in and out. And some of the prizes are pretty big. I mean, you can win. I mean, you can win up to $1 million, or you can win like $50,000-$60,000. But it's a lot of fun. As long as you get a team that advances, you at least win your entry back, and then you kind of move on from there. So I love best ball. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, this was the first year that I didn't have a team advance through. Like I said, I had like 4 or 5 teams that finished third. So just it was a brutal year for injuries. So.
Parent, to keep your league, would you pick JJ, CD, or CMC? I feel like it's obvious, but maybe you feel differently.
If you only get to pick one, it's Justin Jefferson. Like I get it with Christian McCaffrey and all that, but I'm a huge keeper league guy. That's what I do, and it is CMC is. This is probably where the ageist stuff comes in, but Christian McCaffrey is as awesome as he's been. He is getting up there in age. And so I think that those are things that should always be taken in consideration, and especially at running back, as we've seen, these guys tend to fall off. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is 27; he's going to be heading into his age 28 season this year, heading into next year. And so, as you know, he has been someone that has dealt with some injuries and stuff like that. Now, he stayed relatively healthy, at least this year. But he's getting up there in age. I mean, he maybe has another year or two left in him, and that's probably all you're going to be able to see from him. So there's no way I'm going to keep CMC over Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb for that matter. But then I would go I would go Justin Jefferson as the guy I would keep.
I lean Justin Jefferson, but I think you can make a case for CeeDee Lamb just with his quarterback situation just being more secure with Dak, right? Just not knowing what's going to happen with Justin Jefferson. But I agree, it's definitely one of the receivers over CMC for me. Para, who are you leaning? Just curious if it was JJ for you. Browning or Tua?
I mean, if there's not a huge concern with win by the time, this is kind of how it happened last week, right? Early on, it was, oh man, these games look really bad. Win looked really bad. Then once we got to Sunday, I was like, okay, it's 10 wins, 5-team wins. It doesn't matter. And so, right now it's Tua. This is what I would say to most people, is I would not pay attention to weather until you get to Sunday. Go through whatever research you do, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then on Sunday is when I would look at it. Because it's real easy to look at it today and be like, oh man, that weather's going to be brutal. I'm going to completely, that bias is going to be in your mind all week. And you're going to end up kicking yourself that if you do something stupid and sit Tua for Jake Browning and Tua goes out and puts up a 30-burger. So right now,
that decision's going to have to be made on Saturday. That's the 1:00 game.
But even wait till Saturday morning. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have a better idea of what it's going to look like.
Texans, Saints, Browns, Dolphins, Rams, or Falcons defense. There's going to be Dolphins for me.
Yeah.
Truth got a first round bye for being first place in my other league. Shout out to you two for the advice all season. Shout out to you, Truth Teller, for rocking with us. Glad we could help in some small capacity to help you lock up that first round bye. That's such a nice feeling to have.
The bye, yeah, it's such a huge advantage because for the most part, you're already instantly you're fighting for that. You only have to get through one game to get to the championship, and for most leagues, like if it's for money, then at the very least, once you get past if you have a first round bye, you're guaranteed to at least play for some money. Maybe it's just your money back for third place, which is what a lot of leagues do, and then or if you win, boom, you're on to the championship. So it is such a huge advantage. You don't have to worry about all this stuff. You get to sit back and just relax this week, and really. The smart move is to be able to set your team up for the following week. So, you can already be looking at matchups for the following week for defenses and stuff like that. You can already set yourself up where the teams that are fighting for it have no other choice but to, play that week where you can kind of look forward to the next week. So,
yeah, the one league where I was really hoping to lock up a bye, I did not lock it up. All my receivers shit the bed between Amon-Ra, Evans. Who else did I have? There's someone else. I had 4 receivers that are typically studs week in and week. Jamar Chase shit the bed, and now obviously I'm looking at some issues. Now if we have the win with Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams might not go, so I'm in trouble, and going up against one of my least favorite people in this particular league as well. So it hurts even more, just sitting there and looking like I really don't want to lose this particular matchup, but I digress. Right now, also leaning JJ, also a huge Cowboys fan, so it's hard not to pick my favorite player in the NFL. Yeah, I don't think that there's a massive difference, but depending on when you need to make that decision, if it's gonna end up being Kirk, it's Justin Jefferson.
Here's what I would say. I think that you guys should vote to add, because to me, having one keeper, that doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of point to it, in my opinion. So I would try to vote to up the keepers. In our league, what we do is we get to keep 4 for free. So you can keep 4 players, and then just kind of sweeten the deal. We make it $25 per extra keeper up, for 2 more. You can keep a 5th and a 6th for $25 a piece, goes into the pot. Strengthens the pot and everything else. And, it there's a lot more strategy involved there because it's like I don't want to say it's a dynasty league, but it's like because like we can trade like all off season. I can trade players on my roster all the way up until we submit our keepers right before the draft, and so it kind of makes things a little more interesting with the league where I've made a lot of trades over the off season to change things like that. But so I would at very least I think 2 or 3 keepers is better than having one. Uh, it just I just think it's a little bit better product there. So like that's why I love the way that we do it. 4 for free. You don't have to keep any if you don't want, but you can keep up to 4. It doesn't cost you anything, and then you can keep a 5th and a 6th and add more money to it. So even if you did like 2 for free, and then you could do a 3rd and a 4th for X amount of dollars or whatever your entry fee is. I think would make sense too, something like that.
Or you can always just stop dicking around, just do a dynasty league and just keep everyone. That's
That's also an option. And there's been many of years I would have loved to have done that.
Truth. Got Swift and Brees for next week. Now would you drop Spears, McKinnon, or Chuba for a defense? Thinking about getting Jets already. They play Washington. I have Cleveland, but they play Houston.
At this point, we don't have to. Like, I think you could probably drop McKinnon or Chuba, honestly, if you really wanted to.
I mean, I feel like you could also just drop Cleveland and play the Jets
this week.
Especially if Cleveland's going to be without the who is it? I know there's a D lineman, one of their better edge rushers, and then one Thornhill, or more than likely looking at being out, and then Denzel Ward also might not play. And if this game does end up having the issues with the wind, I think you could look at it that way, because it would suck right now to drop Spears and then CH also gets. I mean, Derrick Henry gets hurt, right? Or you drop McKinnon and CEH also get. You know what I mean? Like that. That's one thing I wouldn't want to do. I think if you're looking at the Jets, I think you could consider just dropping Cleveland and playing the Jets this week. But again, you could also wait and see what ends up happening with that weather and make that more of a game time call.
Yeah.
Raiders or Bears, I'm going Bears.
Yeah.
For a 12-team, $50 league, what sounds better for payouts? 300, 200, 100, 325, 275, or 375, 175, 50?
I think it's third.
Yeah. I agree. I always like being able to at least like get my money back. You're winning over $300. Your take home if you end up winning first. You're getting over $100 if you end up getting second. So that's how I would do that. You could even do something else, like if you wanted to take $20 from first and second, then you could have 40, let's say, for most points scored, something like that. You know what I mean? To throw that in case there's any shitty luck. Obviously doesn't cover the league fee, but at least get you close. That's something that I don't mind for payouts as well. Anyway, thank you week in and week out for the great advice and tips. No one's perfect. I feel like you guys' picks were like 95% correct. One league in first, other league went from last to fourth in playoffs. Let's go. I have shit the bed a lot. So I'm glad 808 that it feels like we're 95% right. But I know that ain't that ain't me.
To me, it's like process over results, right? Like, and I think you come here. I think you like if you're gonna ask questions, whatever you ask questions. And then I think at the end of the day, though, you still have to like make your own gut decision because like it's your team. You know what I mean? But I will say that I am pretty heavily invested on a lot of weeks of like players that we were high on, and hope that we did well because I feel just as bad if we we suggest somebody and then they don't work out and I'm like. I get pissed off about it. Like if they're not even my teams or whatever. So we do care. It's not like we just don't give a shit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of Sundays where, especially if we're getting like a lot of the same questions, if we keep doubling down, tripling down on the same players, there are plenty of Sundays that once like 3 o'clock rolls around or whatever it is, that Kevin and I are texting each other saying like, oh, we like, oh man, thank God we said this player, or I hope so and so started this other guy. So we absolutely do care, and hopefully that comes across as well. Roger, should you start Pacheco over Achan or Moss? Gavin, do you think Pacheco plays?
I don't think he does.
If he did, over Achan or Moss?
No, I think I would still play. I think it would be over Achan would be the one that I would play him over if I did. But I just don't think I don't think Pacheco plays.
RP needs to start 2 halfback edition. Gibbs, Monty, Javante, James Conner, Zamir White if Jacobs is out. I don't think with the names that you have, RP, that you have to worry about dipping down into the Zamir White area. Here, I would go Monty and Javante.
David Montgomery for sure. Like I don't mind actually playing both running backs from the Lions. Like I think you could easily. I think
I
you
thought
could
that's
do
where
it.
you were going.
But I think I would go though Javante and David Montgomery.
McBride or Isaiah Likely? It's going to be McBride, Sam Howard, Justin Fields. I'm going Fields.
Yep.
That's the name I couldn't come up with. Okoronkwo. I knew that he's one of their better edge rushers. Delpit. I thought it was Thornhill and Denzel Ward still questionable.
I know
Either
yeah.
way, that Browns defense is
that whole team has been banged up this year. It's I mean obviously with Watson, Nick Chubb earlier in the year, like
both their starting tackles.
Yeah, like it's been a rough year in terms of injuries for that team.
Any defense you would start over Browns D? Yeah, I would start the Bears over the Browns D.
I would play the Browns over the Bears, but I would still probably just stick with the Browns. I'm pretty high on the Browns. I still am decent for the Browns though.
Yeah, I like the Bears over the Browns. Diem. That is wild.
Yeah,
I think the highest one I played in was like a 17 teamer. It was like 17 or 18 teams, I think, and that was rough. I can't imagine 32 teams. There better be like multiple levels of payouts in that league. I feel like with a 150 buy-in, you could do a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Like highest points. You could do. I feel like there would be different ways to spread that around a little bit.
There was a league that I used to play in, and we did. It was in a bar, so it was cool. Like, but the league had been around since like the '90s, and when I was like, wasn't even and where they used to do like you get the newspaper, but it was a bar only, and like the bar is like it's a private bar, but like they've been doing this forever, and like my dad knows somebody that was in the league, and then they invited him in, and then the guy wanted to have his own team, but they let my dad say. Anyways, long story short, but it was a I think it was a 16 team league. It was like a $200 buy-in, but on top of that, every transaction you made, you had to pay money for it. There was no free waiver move. So like if you had a guy on buy, didn't matter. You still had to pay for it. And so like all that went into the pot. And so like this league generated like $5,000 or $6,000. But what pissed me off is they literally paid out everybody. everybody in the league got a cut of it, and all this other stuff. So like we won first like twice, and we only ended up getting like it was like $500. I'm like, how is this worth it? Like all
What?
this money, because what they do is they pay the bar for like the draft party they have, which is fine. I get it. You know, the bar hosts it, whatever, and like, but like, and then they like because they pay a tab, and then basically it's like $400, and then like pays for like beers and all this other like alcohol and all this other stuff, which is cool. I get that. And then at the end they do a end of season party, so they take a chunk out of it for that. Fine, but then they end up paying out like everybody, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like 13th place shouldn't be getting payout from this, you know. And the largest chunk should go to first, and that's not the way it worked. Like so, like I did it for a couple of years. I'm like, I'm done. Like this, and this league was it was stupid, but it was cool. Like talking to them because like you hear a bunch of stories about like, oh, back in the night, you know, look at this team I had '98, and like they got like a paper with it all in there, and like Dan Marino and like all this. I'm like that's pretty cool, like whatever. But the way the rest of it, I thought was stupid.
Yeah, that is 100% not worth it. Truth teller, would you rather have Chuba or McKinnon over Zach Moss? Someone dropped him yesterday. Thinking about picking him up, or I can drop my kicker to try to get Moss for now. I would take Moss over Chuba.
Yeah, so the Chiefs' remaining schedule is the Patriots, and then it's the Bengals, and then it's the Raiders. I think. Or is it the other way around? I think it's the Raiders because No, it's the right because the Chiefs play the Bengals on. Or no, they play the Raiders on. So it's the Raiders Bengals, right? Yeah, because they play the Raiders on Christmas Day. That's right. And so I think you could drop McKinnon.
Yeah, I want Moss over both of them. I know Chuba's been getting the volume. He just doesn't excite me. Like when it comes to plays like this where I'm just like stashing somebody, I typically lean toward the better offense. Like I said, I think you could drop either of them for Zach Moss. I'd want Moss over both. Javonte or Walker in a PPR. That's going to be Javonte for me.
Sadly, yeah, because it's actually a good matchup. I talked about Kenneth Walker yesterday when we did our running back video, and the Eagles have been getting gashed on the ground. But we've seen Kenneth Walker come back to basically a 50-50 split. So that is the only thing that kind of worries me there. I think it's actually closer than it should be, but I think I would still go Javonte.
Stafford Fields or Kyler?
Stafford.
5% wrong was telling me to play Jawan Johnson. Correct about 0 points. It's fair. Was that the 808? Was that the game recently where the ball went through his hands and it caused the I think it was a pick six. It's definitely an interception, and then I don't think he got targeted the rest of the game. Sorry. Raiders or Cleveland? I'm gonna go
Cleveland
Raiders
for me, but I think you're gonna go Raiders.
I'm gonna go Raiders. Something that we will be in agreement on is going to be McBride over Kmet. Deontay or Watson if he plays. If Watson plays, it's going to be Watson for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I would go Watson if he plays.
Appreciate you guys' time. Can't wait to keep updating you on my playoff run. Projected 147 versus 116.5 this week. So let's hope it happens. Yeah, this is now America's team. We are fully invested. Want to see you take that one down for sure.
Yeah, people don't know there was a really bad trade that happened in that league that never should have happened. Clear
involving
collusion.
The commissioner.
Yeah, involving the commissioner. Yeah, they made it even worse. So that we're rooting for him to take the whole thing down.
I did not see Delpit out rest of the regular season. Am I making it up that Thornhill is also questionable, Ashton? I could have sworn I saw Thornhill. Okay, so they
He
got
didn't
money for the
practice today.
divisions. What's
Yeah,
that?
Thornhill didn't practice.
Okay. What about Ward? Did Ward practice or no?
And Thornhill didn't play last week with a calf injury.
So they pay out divisions 1 through 8. First place 900 division, another 100. So it kind of sounds similar to what you're just talking about, just a long-standing league. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. Because our home league, I think it's been going on for like 12 years or something like that. Somewhere
I
around
think
there, 12 or 13 years.
my longest running one right now is a dynasty. I think we're in year 6 or 7, I want to say. Something
Yeah,
like
because it
that.
was right when I
I
got.
think we've only replaced 2 owners, I want to say. One for sure, and I think a second one. Truth needs a kicker here. Kev, break out those kicker rankings: Patterson, Moody, McPherson, or Carlson.
Who was it?
Patterson, Moody, McPherson, Carlson.
It's gonna be Moody for me.
Who are your top 5 kickers?
Aubrey, Tucker, Moody, Jake Elliott, and Jason Sanders.
Brandon Flex, Moss, Rice, or Devonta Smith? I'm going Smitty here.
This is gonna be Zach Moss.
RP, should I start Jake Browning or Sam Howell?
It's gonna be Howell for me.
Howell for me as well. Joe, appreciate you rocking with us. Gator fan in here, Moody or McPherson. Feel like you kind of just answered that with you had Moody at kicker 3, right?
Correct.
Jacoby Myers or Noah Brown. Assuming that CJ Stroud does not practice tomorrow, I would just plug in Jacoby.
Yeah, I still would probably go Jacoby Myers. I was trying to see if they made a decision on. But yeah, they said Aiden O'Connell was going to start because there was talk that maybe they would go Jimmy Garoppolo, which wouldn't be surprised if they saw him in that game. But that Jimmy Garoppolo would be fantastic for Jacoby Myers. But I still would probably go Jacoby Myers either way. I mean, Davis Mills, not doing it.
Drop Taysom, Kincaid, McBride.
I'm going to drop Taysom.
Yeah, I'd probably drop Taysom as well. I think Kincaid. It's definitely not McBride.
Oh yeah,
We'll put it that way. PPR on the flex, Monty or Rice. That's going to be Monty for me.
agreed.
Zeke or Achan, thoughts on Achan toe injury? I did not see that piece of news either.
I'm not. Again, we kind of talk about it a lot. Obviously, we should. We're gonna have to monitor the situation this week on that. But I don't. It's not a big deal when a player misses Wednesday. I mean, if you look at today, there's a ton of players that miss practice today. Wednesday never matters for practice, and so especially coming off a Monday night game as well. So for them, so like I don't care that he missed practice today. It's something you'll have to monitor throughout the week. But as long as he gets in, practice tomorrow, I think you feel pretty good about it. I'm not really all that concerned with it. But yeah, I would play Achane over Zeke. Think either Cody's doing the best. Think Cody might be frozen there. Yep, he is frozen. So that being said, with Cody and pondering there, um, I'm gonna go with, let's see, take that off. And so for me, Cameron, Reed, Waddle, or Lockett. This is going to be Waddle. I know there's some worry a little bit about the weather, but I'm not all that concerned with it right now. I like I said, I'm not going to concern myself with weather until it gets much closer. It tends to change, much like last week, which the issue last week. A lot of people made a big deal about all the weather concerns, and then it ended up not mattering at all, and it had people scared away from like the Ravens and really the Rams as well. Nobody played them, and so yeah, I'm going to go with Waddle. If the weather still looks bad and it's 20 plus mile an hour winds, then I think you just shift over to Jaden Reed at that point. So uh, yeah, that's the way that I would play it. But right now, it's Waddle for me. Mark, your thoughts on Zamir White if he starts, or would you play him over CMH? CEH. Okay. That's a huge difference, obviously. Um, and so if Zamir White starts and if Josh Jacobs is out, I'm playing Zamir White on that one. The matchup is better. uh, CEH isn't heavily involved in the passing game. What really worries you about CEH is more so once they get down inside the red zone. That tends to be where, in that situation, that Jerick McKinnon ends up getting the run there inside the red zone, and so it kind of takes away CEH's upside to score touchdowns. And so with Zamir White, I'm not really worried about that. I think game script is also going to be in his favor, so it's Zamir White for me, pretty easily on that. If he plays, I think Zamir White is like a probably a mid RB2, mid to late RB2, if as long as Josh Jacobs is to miss. And then we buy homes. Which two wide receivers should I pick up off waivers in case Tyreek Hill or Nico Collins doesn't play? Sadly, I think Nico doesn't play. Sutton looking for the best matchup. Oh, one Flowers should not be. It would be Flowers for sure. Would be one, and then two would be probably Rashee Rice, followed by Cortland Sutton. Man, there's a lot of wide receivers sitting out there. That's the way that I would play it though. But I really like Zay Flowers this week a lot. And so he's a borderline top 12 wide receiver for me in this matchup against the Jaguars. Jaguars have been terrible against opposing passers this year. They have really, really struggled to stop anybody. So um, that's the way I would look at it. And I don't think Nico Collins is going to play. I know there was some talk today that there's some it's better than what they thought it was. His injury was. It's not a long term injury, but some of the beat reporters said that he is a long shot to play this week, especially if you're not going to have CJ Stroud. I don't know why you'd rush Nico Collins. They're still kind of fighting for that playoff spot. You know, if they lose this week, then I think you rest those guys, get them all back healthy for the following week to be ready to go there. So I don't think he plays this week. So. And Gator starting Connor and Hubbard at running back, full PPR. If I don't get McKinnon, need to start two between Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, Foreman, and Dotson. This is going to be Zay Jones and Gabe Davis for me in this spot. Obviously, it's a good matchup, or not a good matchup, but has the highest total on the slate this weekend with these Bills and Cowboys games. So Gabe Davis makes some sense there. And then Zay Jones just seeing a really ridiculous target. I think last week he saw 14 targets in that matchup. Another matchup that they're going to have to be throwing the ball quite a bit. So I would go with Gabe Davis and Zay Jones on that one. Roger, need four. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Kupp, Olave, and Cortland Sutton. So Kupp is a lock. And then I'm going to go with Mike Evans. And then I will go with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase there in that one between those four or all those options. But that is some tremendous options you have there at wide receiver. I will say that for sure. Thanks. Have a great night. You have a great night there, Truth Teller. Lamar, CMC, Gibbs, Lamb, Cup, Pittman, McBride, JJ, and Aubrey is my starting squad for the playoffs. If that team doesn't win the championship, I'll be quite upset. I would be too. That is a phenomenal team, but much like fantasy football, it things can always go bad. But yes, on paper, that team is fantastic squad right there. Love that team. We buy homes again. Non-PPR start 2 running backs, 1 flex. Kyron, Alvin Kamara, Saquon, Travis Etienne, or Brees Hall. Kyron's a lock for me. Good matchup against the Commanders, and just his usage has been incredible this year. 80%, of the snaps, 80% of the opportunities. So, yes, I would go Kyron, and then Saquon, and then I'm going to flex Alvin Kamara. Ashton, start 1. Zeke, Singletary, Brian Robinson, or Charbonnet. This is going to be Zeke for me, sadly enough, as I am the resident Zeke hater. And then Cameron, Falcons or Rams defense this week. I'm going to go with the Falcons on this one. And then San Francisco or Chiefs defense. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Chiefs. I just have less faith in Bailey Zappi to be able to hurt this defense than does Kyler Murray. So I did want to mention that. So yes, I would go Chiefs over San Francisco this week. For people that don't know, Cody, I guess his internet dropped out, so that's exciting. So that's why he is answering questions from here. But yes, he froze and then his internet went out. So he's still out here, answering questions as we go. So appreciate the super chat there. We buy homes. Hopefully get the dub this week. And then, Mark, do you think Gus Edwards will ever get back a larger role? The hot streak helped me get to the playoffs. I don't think so. This is just not what they typically do. For the most part, he's not somebody that I think is going to see some large workload, especially with the way Keaton Mitchell's been playing. This is going to continue to be a 3-headed monster. And then also with Lamar Jackson, the way that he handles it, I don't think you're going to see where he's going to be this workhorse back. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. The only way he gets there is really through touchdowns at this point because he's really not involved in the passing game right now. So that's frustrating with Gus Edwards, I think. But hey, appreciate what he did for you, right? Because that was frustrating. Because honestly, I mean, he was a guy you probably drafted later in the draft, and he helped you get to where you needed to go. So Gus Edwards is a real one for that. But no, I don't think he all of a sudden is going to get back some large workload or anything like that. I don't see that happening with him. And then Alexis, good luck to everyone in the playoffs. Yes, good luck to everyone. Hopefully we'll see everybody back here next week as we're talking for the second round of the fantasy playoffs. Hopefully we don't get a bunch of crazy stuff that happens because that is so often what happens where you feel great going into the week. Everything's looking fantastic. You feel like you got an easy win on your hands. And then crazy things break out and a bunch of studs end up tanking and not doing well. And then the guy you're playing, which you thought had a terrible team, ended up going off. That's happened more time than I know that I've seen, and it's super frustrating when it does happen. So, because that's why fantasy football is so much when it gets to this point a game of luck, because really you just need everything to perfectly work out for you. So, but I will say for the people that are on bye, this is a great time to try to stack up your roster for the following weeks that are coming. Drop some players. Like if you know that you're never going to play a certain player, like a wide receiver, something like that. Like this is a great time to load up on running back because if anything were to happen, much like we're seeing to Josh Jacobs this week, where all of a sudden Zamir White becomes relevant. But if let's say Christian McCaffrey, knock on some wood, were to get injured or something like that, especially where the 49ers are, you're starting to get to a point where if a player gets any sort of even relative injury, they're going to start getting shut down. So this is a great time to start stashing players on your bench. And if you're on bye, this is a great time to do so, to start clearing out some of these spots that you like. If you have to realistically look at your team and say, I'm never going to start this player, then they're okay to drop. Like you don't have to worry about anything else. You only have a couple weeks left. So it is such a huge advantage to have that first round bye. And that's what I would be looking to do is kind of stacks them up. So Mason, a good stash. Yeah, I think Jordan Mason could be. Elijah Mitchell's been dealing with injuries. I think so. Jordan Mason could end up being that guy. You talk about the other guys like Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, are all guys that make a lot of sense for that type of situation. Tajay Spears is another player that you could look at as options that you could look to add to your roster, because that's all I'd be looking to do right now is stash players for in case something were to happen because they could win you your league. So Michael Carter, I think, is also another player that kind of comes to mind if something were to happen to James Conner again. So yeah, that's what I'd be trying to do right now. I mean, we don't have to get too worried about stashing other players at other positions because generally speaking, wide receivers aren't league winners because it's just not the way the position works. You have multiple wide receivers versus a running back, so that's the way that I would be looking at it. So that being said, I think that is the last question we had in here. So Cody, get your internet fixed. But everybody else, I appreciate everybody rocking with us. Oh, another one here. My playoffs for 2 weeks at a time with combined score to go through week 18. Gross, I know, but good luck to everyone, especially those who don't have to deal with week 17, week 18 championship. I don't actually mind the 2 week thing because it doesn't absolutely bury you and allows you the opportunity. Like if you do have that one-off bad week, I think I'm more of a fan of it for like if you were to start the playoffs in week 14 versus week 15, and then make the fantasy just do it with the fantasy championship, where the championship week is 16 and 17. I think I feel a little bit better about that than the others. But yes, week 18 is always a pain in the ass because there's so many players that miss time and just get shut down. Teams that have stuff on lock, they end up shutting their players down. So it's a real pain in the ass there on when it comes to week 18. That's why most leagues should never have a week 18. I know there's people that believe that you should because the NFL season's that long. Why are we not playing that long? But it's just so many crazy things happen on that week. But just praying nobody is sitting for week 18 for me. Yeah, that's the brutal part. Like all of a sudden you made it this far, and now all of a sudden a bunch of players. Like the only players that I could see that you could have that situation with were like maybe CMC. Like I said, like if the 49ers have things locked up. Same with Lamar, they could be in that situation. And then other teams that can't really move up or down could also be in that scenario too. But for the most part, I think you should be okay where those teams are going to have to play out because I think like the 49ers, I think the Eagles will. Well, actually, no, because I think they could probably lock up the Bucs. I think now they have the lead, right? They're the 1 seed, and now they have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Eagles. And so, in reality, if the 49ers win out once we get to week 17, if they win their next 3 games, then they would pretty much lock up that situation, and that's where you could see someone like CMC get benched because because they're going to have nothing to play for. So that's what's brutal about playing week 18. But anyways, that being said, let's go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everybody jumping in. I appreciate everybody being here all year, rocking with us. Appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate all the growth that we've had. We got a lot more content coming. I know this is unsubscribe season that people get knocked out of the fantasy playoffs. People unsubscribe to the fantasy channels they're following. I get it. But just keep it locked in here. We got a lot of content even after the season's over with that we're going to start doing, whether it's best ball, whether it's the draft season that's coming up. This NFL draft looks like a lot of fun. So we're going to have a lot of content there. Probably bring on some guests and have some fun with it. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep rocking all the rest of all next year to get you ready for the following season. So that being said, hope everybody has a good rest of the night. Hope everybody has a good weekend this weekend. Let's keep it moving. We'll be back again on Sunday morning to answer your question. We'll have a much better idea of what everything looks like from there. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye.